Okay. Um, so I think my levels are good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Off the Mark. I've just been spending how long? About an hour and 18 minutes trying to get my hardware working so I could record this episode. And I hope to God it doesn't. There's no technical issues during this recording because that would just be the cherry on top of everything going on right now. Um, so I plan to release this as the third episode in the podcast feed, and I'm gonna post the first three all at once. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you would have heard my pilot episode, my interview with my friend Stan Alger, and this one you're listening to right now. The basic cadence I'm thinking about for the show release is to have one interview one week, have a solo episode the next, and then another interview episode after week. So it's going to be a weekly podcast, but the type of episode is going to be bi-weekly. We might try out different releasing schedules. We'll see. Right now, the time to edit is it's a pain in the ass. So I think one a week, using that bi-weekly format would be a reasonable goal for me. Because, these things take a while to edit, the interviews at least. I think I spent 6 to 8 hours editing Stan's episode because, you got to cut back and forth. You got to play with the audio, add in the references, clips from the things we reference. And also I rewatched the whole thing to, make sure that the quality's good and everything in there is right. Definitely going to want to get an editor. This podcast ain't going to be scalable unless I work with one. But anyway, the point of this episode and these episodes is basically to check in on how things are going. And I don't know, talk about shit that I find amusing and just talk to myself for however long this lasts. It's it gets kind of surreal when you notice you're just talking to yourself in your living room, talking to a viewer that isn't there, that you hope is going to be there eventually when you upload this. I once heard that stand-up comedy is exactly like this. It's a self-contained conversation with an absolute idiot. I don't know how true that definition is. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but that's definitely what's going on right now in this production. I'm looking at myself right now in Streamlabs, trying to hold a conversation with myself, and while also trying to make that conversation with myself be entertaining to any third party who would be willing to listen to it. So yeah. If I'm failing, please stick with me until I get the kinks out. Hopefully, the more I do this, the easier it'll be and the better I will get. So, where am I at right now? Well, it is currently 2:22 a.m. on Monday, January 19th. And so that means we're 19 days from the new year. I'm not sure when I posted the video about my layoff. I think that was 2 weeks after I got laid off, which was Halloween of 2025. So I've been trying to, go after this whole content creator, comedy, photography, whatever the hell you want to call it, production company thing full time for about 2.5 months now. And it's been a journey. I tried to move out of my place, my current apartment. Currently living in a 1-bedroom, all by my own self, so I don't have to worry about keeping any roommates up. Just my neighbors, but they don't know me, so fuck them. But I was trying to downsize, given that I wasn't bringing any money in, and I said I wasn't going to look for another job for a while. I was going to move in with a friend in, a good part of town in a good apartment. So I definitely wouldn't have been sacrificing too much, and I would have been paying $500 cheaper than I currently am. But unfortunately, the landlord wanted to raise the rent. And in order to do that, they wouldn't put me on the lease, which meant that if my friend ever moved out, I'd have to reapply or find another place to live. So I didn't want to take that risk. So I'm currently at my same apartment I've been living in for about 3 years now. And I'm happy that I'm still here. I love this place. It was the first apartment living out on my own without roommates. I've lived out on my own, in college and when I first moved out to LA. But this is the first time I actually didn't share an apartment with at least one other person. Hope to tell some stories about prior apartments. There was one in particular. The last place right before this place was this illegally zoned trap house in a good town, but it was filled with ex-cons and crazy people. I can't wait to tell those stories. There was a lot of good memories there. Um, saved a lot on rent too, but the ex-cons and crazy people ended up being too much for me, to the point where I said, fuck it, let me invest in a one-bedroom apartment and double my living expenses, which was fine at the time because I was making a pretty good living at my old job. But now I'm here, and yeah, so that fell through officially the day before I was supposed to start moving in, which was like December 31st, start moving in on January 1st, and officially start there on the 15th of January. So I guess 4 days ago I would have started my life in downtown Burbank, but that didn't end up happening. So yeah, I'm still here in my place somewhere. Well, I was going to say it at some episodes, so doxing myself, but somewhere in Pasadena. And I love this town. I love my neighborhood. I'm glad I'm going to stay here, but it's been a challenge the last couple months, especially in the last few weeks, because I'm burning through cash. Unemployment's coming in, and that's going to make sure that I don't end up homeless. And I got a good nest egg saved up, and got a good credit score, so I can always take out more loans, get a new credit card. Mom and my friend both offered to lend me money, which I'm trying not to get to that point. But yeah, my resources are slowly dwindling, and I'm trying to not just find a way to make money doing stuff out on my own, but also try to keep to a disciplined work schedule. And, life gets busy between chores, cleaning up the house, having a social life. I'm really involved in 12-step groups. I'm sure, if you've seen my comedy, you know that I'm in AA and other 12-step groups, and that takes up a lot of my time. It's not like I've been doing nothing, but I feel like I've been falling short of how hard I'm supposed to be working. This podcast, wherever, God willing, it'll get out the week of the 19th, hopefully on Tuesday or Wednesday. So the 20th or the 21st. But I was supposed to have it out a couple weeks ago, earlier, honestly. I mean, that first episode I recorded, I think, was back in November. Maybe even earlier. So anyway, I've been trying to keep up with this, and prove to myself I deserve this dream I'm going for, which is why I'm recording at 2:30 at night, although it's not the biggest sacrifice because I'm a night owl, and lately, since like my scare acting job in October, My sleep schedule's been so fucked. I've been often staying up until like 4 to 6 in the morning, sleeping until like waking up until like 11 and 1, maybe even longer, depending on the night. Starting to get more disciplined about getting up at 11 or 12. But yeah, unemployment's been coming in, but it's barely covering my rent. So the rest of my expenses have to come out of my savings, and I have to pay for my own insurance. Don't want to do Medi-Cal because I have some providers that I like working with that I wanted to keep. Maybe I might have to change that. Yeah. Oh, and last week I found out my unemployment ends is 6 months worth rather than a year than I thought, like how I thought, and 2 of those months are already gone. So basically, I did the calculations, and I've got between unemployment and if I'm spending the average every month that I usually do, I will be good for the next 3 to 4 months. But it's it's caused me to rethink strategies. I'm still going to go for this. I'm still going to fight to, start that production company I talked about previously and that I dreamed about. And I'm going to keep this podcast going. It's not going to end on this 3rd episode. I got 2 more recordings that I just need to edit that I plan to get out. Hopefully, if all goes well, next Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'll do another solo episode and then another friend interview after that. But I made, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen the big, or TikTok, you would have seen that big video I made about I'm going after this and I'm not going to get another job. And, I might have to change trajectory on that. The whole business plan for me was to, between unemployment, unemployment was float my rent. I would try the easiest way to monetize at first would be 3 different revenue streams. It was Patreon or subscription service for, bonus content and stuff like that. Private photo shoots and self-produced shows where, I'd make the ticket revenue. The problem with those revenue sources, or at least with the Patreon and the revenue from shows, it takes a while to build up a big enough audience where that income will be enough to sustain me. And so the next, logical step would be to just focus in on private shoots. And I've gotten some referrals, I got some leads, but nothing's turned up yet. And I still got so many shoots from, TFP for portfolio shoots that, or private shoots I've done, photo group shoots I've done, that I need to edit and put out there. I'm not bringing any money right now. So, I recently started looking for a job. I got an offer from a gym last week to sell memberships. It was half the pay for double the work I used to do. So probably not going to take that. I had some interest from some stuff on like this job on Indeed, and I'm applying the stuff that's relevant to my background. I have a background in digital marketing. So I'm trying to try stuff with that, or photography studios that need assistance, and maybe get some production jobs in the film industry. But industry's not doing too hot, and most of them are short jobs. So it's not like a consistent thing. Most of them, if PA work, what I'm talking about. But I gotta have a meeting on Tuesday with a potential guy that my friend vouched for, so that hopefully will be something. And I got an offer from the smoke shop that I used to go to, to bring some money in. And I occasionally do Uber Eats, so I'm not totally boned. I've got like I said, I still got the savings, and I've got a good resume, and that's just the broad strokes of some of the interest, some of the stuff I've said previously about potential jobs. Those are the broad strokes. There's some other stuff that might turn out, and I'm still, trying to, find private photo shoots and get this podcast off the ground. Hopefully, we make some money eventually, but yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of back out of that one video. Um, but I'm doing my best to make sure that any job I take, it's not going to distract me from this goal. I wrote in my journal once. I made like basically this vow before God and the universe and everything. I highlighted. I said I was gonna something on the lines of I'm gonna put everything I have into starting this production company until God shows me otherwise. I'm not going to take any jobs that are going to distract from that. And, I've kept to that. I got this one offer that was going to probably take, to be this financial planner, financial services rep. And it was probably going to take way too much time and distract me from my true goal. So I probably not going to follow up on that one. The gym job, probably not going to go for that one. Trying to find something that isn't draining on me, on my mental. So so much that I can still, work on this podcast after work and on weekends. I was thinking about doing a driver job. There's some companies that contract out to Uber, so that way you get you don't have to use your own car and you get paid hourly. I love driving. I love driving in LA, so I thought that would be pretty cool, but your boy has been procrastinating on getting his California driver's license. So until the end of February, when I have my DMV appointment, I am not eligible to get one of those jobs. Yeah, it's been stressful. It's an up and down type thing. And that's what I've been telling everyone. Like, it's I don't want this to make it sound like it's a woe is me type thing. Some days I'm really excited for the future and all the opportunity I have now in this new chapter of my life. You know, being able to just sit down here in the wee hours of the morning, even though, and not have to worry about being up for a meeting the next day, and just record, as well as just finding new opportunities, networking with people, going to events, doing comedy gigs, and recording stuff, and kind of coming up with ideas for content, and editing videos and editing photos. Those parts do come where I'm excited for the potential of the future, but then there'll be moments where I get nervous. Especially after I look at my my accounting software, or when I found out my benefits or unemployment's going to end earlier than I thought. It's it gets scary. I've had a couple panic attacks after going to bed, after making the stupid decision of looking at my Fidelity account, my financial planning account. But the last time I had one of those, I just was like, okay, what? Like, whenever I get into those headspaces, I tell myself, what can I do? Like, what is the action? Or how can I stay in action right now? One thing I learned in recovery is that all you have is today. All you have is this moment. I don't know if I'm going to be sober tomorrow, but I can do things to keep me sober today. And it's the same thing with building this company, building this business, building this career. I don't know, if anyone's going to watch these podcasts whenever I post them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make money on Patreon or sponsorships or whatever, but I know I can open my laptop and just start talking into this microphone and do my best I can. Or just do something, whatever it is for that time. Like when I had that panic attack, it's like, okay, I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to be able to sleep. Might as well hammer out that Stands episode. And I edited it for like an hour or two, and I got most of it finished. That's the mentality of God right now. Trying to keep positive, trying to be crafty and see, opportunities as they come up, and try to keep the faith that God will provide, but also take it up every opportunity that's given to me, and try not to expect anything. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about what's up on the horizon. Got a couple shows this week. One of them hopefully will become a monthly show, so I will not disclose much more on that, depending on how things go. We got to edit these podcasts, applying to some jobs, like I said. I guess right now the two big things I'm trying to keep focused on are getting daily posting on my Instagram pages and getting this podcast out at a regular clip. Once I have that out on a regular basis where it becomes much easier, and I can, streamline it a bit, either with editors or scheduling posts in advance, I plan to go to another project. I'll stack shit. Heard something about like Benjamin Franklin used to do that. He'd try to work on one thing every week, one habit, and then he'd try another habit the next week, thinking, and his logic was that if he just focused on something for a week, it would become so like natural to him that he would continue doing it along with the new thing into the next week. So trying that out. What else? Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this isn't a downer episode, because I'm definitely, like I said, it depends on the moment. I'm keeping my chin up, keeping my eyes forward, and working my ass off, or at least doing my best to work my ass off, keep disciplined. I think I'm going to start on new work schedule where, if I'm going to stay up late, might as well be working for it. So maybe I'll get on like some schedule, go to bed at 4, wake up at 12, start in the afternoon. Yeah, what else is happening? My birthday's next month. Planning some stuff for that. Oh, and I run an open mic. So if, or at least I help run an open mic. My friend Jesse's the owner. But if you ever want to meet me in person or just want to shoot me, I'm at the NoHo Diner every Thursday night around 9 or 10. You can watch me play guitar. You can watch other people play guitar way better. If you play guitar or sing or whatever, you can get 15 minutes to do your set. It's free. So check out the Panda Room. And yeah, if you're interested, my show's probably going to be done over by the time this episode comes out. So, but just keep an eye on my Instagram. That's where I'm most active. So you'll see future shows there. I got another one in February at the Astronaut City, so I guess I can plug that. On Wednesday, February 4th, I will be doing New Joke City. Tickets are $10 online and $15 at the door, so go check it out. Oh, and I get 2 comp tickets for the show. So if you want to go, message me on Instagram, DM me, and first 2 who get to me first, I guess we'll get a free ticket to the Astronaut City show in Arcadia. Go support them. They're a new club. They are bringing comedy to San Gabriel Valley. They definitely need a club out here. So go support them. I've performed there a couple times. I love it there. Teresa Lowe, the owner, is a big name in the LA comedy scene, and just a great person from all my interactions. So I'm happy to support her club, and hope to see you there. But yeah, this we'll end this here. I think it's gone long enough. Next episode, you'll be listening to Aletha, who is my voice teacher. So we had a great conversation about that. We'll get that edited to you a week from whenever this is posted. God willing, a week. No, we're making it happen. I'm manifesting this. I'm manifesting a regular posting schedule. Okay. enough talking to myself. Hopefully this isn't as cringe as it feels in the moment. Take care. See you soon. Next podcast a week from now. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Off the Mark. Please follow me on all my socials, on Instagram, TikTok. The handle for my TikTok is Marc Tyrrell Comedy, all one word, MarcTyrrell Comedy. And I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is my main, that's just Marc.Tyrrell, and the other one is my comedy account, which is same as my TikTok. Be sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. That stuff helps like you wouldn't believe. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.